Pressure coming. One-on-one.
In zones. Johnson caught. D. Anderson got it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to our very first college football predictions. Basically, we're going to do one every week. Every week, we're going to pick games that interest us. It's just about like 10 to 13 games, depending on the week and how many really good games that there is really during the week.
It'll emulate like college game day.
Basically, we'll basically just pick teams that we think will win, and we'll keep a little record and see,
who has a better record at the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to see that. So let's get started. Our first game is Cincinnati and UCLA. Last year was very competitive, especially because it was at UCLA, a UCLA team that's still kind of rebuilding. Cincy's looking really good, especially this coming year.
Yep.
I'm going to go with UCLA losing to Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's a much better team. They're a more complete team right now than UCLA is. I think UCLA's still not there yet, especially with Chip Kelly, but I think with another year, I think they'll be there.
I think I'm right there with you. I think the Bearcats are looking really good, coming off an 11-2 season, and we did do a breakdown on them. They're just a more complete team. Most of their key starters and most of the team in general is coming back. And like you did mention, it's going to be at Cincinnati at a night game, and they're wearing blackout, nothing but black. They got murder on their brain. I think the Bearcats are going to win by 10+ points. I think Cincinnati's a better program right now. And I think they just have better players at the moment.
Right. I don't know about the whole score, but I do think it's going to be a slow game, just like we saw with Miami and Florida. Right. It might be a little bit sloppy. You might actually see UCLA take the lead at least one time, just because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Probably early in the game, they'll take the lead.
Early in the game, they'll take a lead, but I do think that UCLA does lose to the Bearcats.
Yeah.
Another game, Utah-BYU, the Holy War. A very exciting game for a lot of people. I think this game is going to be very competitive. It's going to be very close. I think it's going to come down to at least a one-possession game, just like the last year was. Even though this Utah team is very experienced and very good, and they're projected to win the Pac-12, I'm going to go BYU pulls the upset over Utah to start the season. And I think this will be a very good win for BYU, especially because they need to get going really early.
Yeah, like you said, this is the Holy War. I do love this rivalry. I do like this rivalry just because I see these teams going back and forth in the trash talk. I love seeing that stuff. And I think Utah enters LaVell Edwards Stadium very hostile towards them, obviously. I think right now it's hot. Like, this rivalry is always hot. Whenever they play each other, they hate each other. They hate each other with the most amount of passion I've seen any fans have.
Right.
But I think they go into BYU and they win. I think Utah wins it. They've won the last 8. They're gonna keep winning. They're gonna keep on winning. Add one more to this win streak. I think Utah pulls it out fairly easily.
We'll see about that. But the next game we got is Notre Dame, Louisville. Notre Dame coming off a really good season, especially making the playoff last year. Yep. Louisville having a terrible season last year. Can they get better from then? A lot of people think that this game will come down to probably maybe a 2-possession game. People think that it's going to be 28-14. I think Notre Dame wins this handedly. I think they win by at least 3 scores easily.
I'm right there with you. I'm picking Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame walks into Louisville and doesn't even break a sweat. I have the Irish winning 90+. It's no contest.
And for our next game, it's probably going to upset a lot of people, but it's Boise State and Florida State. It's a neutral site game in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah. Neutral site. That's
neutral
loose.
site.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to go into this game. It might be humid, but the Miami-Florida game wasn't very humid. So
it was not. It was not very humid. It was hot.
It was hot, but it wasn't extremely humid. Now there is a tropical storm coming, so this game could get canceled if it gets really bad. But then again, there is a possibility that this game gets played through with it storming. Like, there's just no lightning, just raining.
Just rain.
So I think it's going to be very sloppy, and if that does happen, I think this game will be very low scoring, and I'm going to go Boise State wins, but a very tight one.
It's like you just mentioned about the tropical storm. It's very reminiscent of Notre Dame Clemson a few years back. Like you said, I feel like this is controversial just because we have talked about this before. We did a breakdown of Boise State. I got the Broncos winning. I like the Broncos coming off. They came off a 10-3 season last year, and Florida State had a tough season last year. I think they're not rebuilding because Florida State is a story program that everybody knows. Normally they're good. They have been good. I think they're reloading, and I think they're going to be able to go for this game. But I just think Boise State's going to pull some Chris Pearson type plays, even though he's not there anymore. and they're gonna win this game. I think they squeak it out 3 points.
Right. I do think that Florida State needs to show that their offensive line has improved.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest question for Florida State.
Right.
If Florida State had a better offensive line, I would have gone Florida State. But right now, I think I'm going to go with Boise State because
Exactly.
I have a good feeling that Boise State can get to the quarterback.
And it's not a question about the quarterback play now. So
Right.
I think Florida State has cemented their guy in Blackman. It's just like you mentioned, it's all about the O-line. Can they protect him and give Blackman time to get the ball out to their star players?
And then the next one, South Carolina and UNC. This game was a little tough to choose. I like both programs. Mac Brown is a really good coach. We saw what he did at Texas. But I'm going to go with South Carolina. I think Jake Bentley is a much better quarterback than they have right now at UNC. I'm going to go Jake Bentley torches this defense. The South Carolina defense holds UNC to basically, I think, 14.
I'm right there with you. I think we're completely in stride here. I think South Carolina takes this game. I think they go into UNC and they handle them. They just manhandle them. I think your right defense is going to hold up strong for South Carolina, and I think Jake Bentley could be a dark horse for the Heisman. I think Jake Bentley goes in there and throws 2-3 touchdowns easily.
Another really good game that we have this week is Houston and Oklahoma. Last time that Houston and Oklahoma played, it was in 2016. Head coach then was Tom Herman for Houston, and he beat Oklahoma 33-23. So this game is still going to be high scoring because now they have Dana Holgorsen in Houston, who was the West Virginia head coach last year, left. Now he's with the Houston Cougars. This game is very interesting just because Dana Holgorsen has experience playing against Lincoln Riley. Dana Holgorsen did lose to Oklahoma last year, 59-56, with a really good quarterback, Will Grier, and now he has another great quarterback. I think this game will be very high scoring. Forget about defenses. This game will be whoever has last possession is going to win the game, and I think I'm going to go with Houston. I think Houston upsets Oklahoma early, and Dana Holgorsen gets some revenge.
Wow, that's incredible. So this is now we're changing stride now. I'm picking Oklahoma right from the jump. I saw this game and I felt inclined to be like, this might be a good game. It's gonna be high-powered offenses, but I just think the caliber of players like Oklahoma has are just more developed and they're just better than Houston's. So I'm thinking Oklahoma torches this team. I'm not saying Houston can't keep up. That might happen, and you might be more correct than I am. They might be trading blows left and right, just because Oklahoma's defense was god awful last season. But that being said, I think Oklahoma is just head over heels above Houston, no matter who's the coach. And I think Oklahoma kind of handles this game because it is in Oklahoma. I think the crowd over in Oklahoma is just going to be too much for Houston, and Oklahoma rolls on this one.
And for our next one, we got Northwestern, Stanford, two very good schools, two very academically prestigious schools.
Academic elites.
Exactly. With one having KJ Costello and the other one having Hunter Johnson, who was a former 5-star. Two good quarterbacks going head to head. And KJ Costello is kind of an underrated quarterback. He has a strong arm, very good quarterback. I'm gonna go with this game's gonna be tight. It's gonna be low scoring. I'm gonna go with this game probably goes 17-24. I'm gonna go Northwestern pulls the upset, kind of an upset, in Palo Alto. And they get their first win against a very high caliber team.
Now I'm picking Stanford. I'm thinking Stanford just because it is in Palo Alto. Northwestern is going to have a solid defense like they always normally do. And I think the type of player that KJ Costello is and all his leadership, he's going to will his team to win this game. And I think it is going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be very tight.
And a game that's very highly anticipated is Oregon-Auburn. A lot of people have Oregon winning the Pac-12. Auburn and Gus Malzahn is on the hot seat. So Gus Malzahn needs a win early against a very good Oregon team. And I think Auburn wins this, and I think they win this by 10. I think Auburn is too good. Bo Nix, look out for Bo Nix because I think he's the real deal. I do think that he's going to be a legitimate player, a quarterback for this team, and he will be very good this season and the next season and the year after that. I think this kid is very good. He was very highly touted out of high school. So I do think that this game will be close in the beginning, but I do think that Auburn beats Oregon.
I love that you mentioned the Bo Nix. I do think that Bo Nix he's the man for the job, and I love the way Auburn is moving with this true freshman at the helm. This Auburn-Oregon game is going to be held in Texas, and this should have been the College Game Day choice of venue to go to.
Right.
I don't understand why they picked Clemson, Georgia Tech, but they missed an opportunity here with this one. I think this is the most anticipated game of Week 1. I think just because the venue is so much closer to the Auburn than it is to Oregon, I think they're gonna have a home crowd advantage type deal over there, and I just think that the atmosphere is going to be so up that Auburn's going to play up to that level. And I also think that Auburn's defense comes to play. I do think they play to the billing that they've been talking about all postseason.
Right.
I think they not shut out Oregon, but I think they hold Oregon to low yardage, and I think Auburn comes out with this win.
Yeah, I think Gus Malzahn, he's now the play caller. He's calling plays
Yep.
for this team, so he's taking over play calling.
Right.
Last year it was the OC at the time. Now he's going to take the offense into his hands, and we're going to see how well he does calling plays. But another team that we're going to look at is Fresno State and USC. This game specifically, we looked at this game because USC last year did terrible. They had a really bad year, going 5-7.
Very bad year.
Fresno State had a phenomenal year last year.
Oof.
Now, while Fresno State did lose a lot of key pieces, they're still going to contend for the Mountain West Conference.
Yep.
So that's why we picked this game. But I think that USC still has enough talent there. They can still recruit really good talent.
Of course.
I'm going to go USC wins this, but I think this game is a little tighter than people think. I think USC wins, I think, by 10. I think it's going to be like 20-30.
I'm there with you with USC. I think this game's going to be sloppy, extremely sloppy on both teams. I'm with you with that Fresno State. It's going to look a little rough because they did lose their starting quarterback. Got to replace him. And USC is just going to be sloppy just because they came off a terrible season, and I think they were just discombobulated last year. And I think they got it rolling here in this postseason. But I think just because it's week one, everything's going to be sloppy. I think USC does pull this out. It is at home for them. Everything's in their favor.
And moving to the next one, we got Virginia Tech and Boston College. Basically, the start of the ACC for those two teams.
Right.
I'm going to go. This is going to be a very good game just because we have a Virginia Tech defense that's going to be coming back very good. And then we have a Boston College offense with A.J. Dillon that's going to try running the ball against this very good defense. I think A.J. Dillon does a really good job of finding holes, finding gaps, and creating plays. I think I'm going to go with Boston College. I think they get the win.
Yep.
And they run the clock down really well. So I'm going to go Boston College gets this win.
Yeah, I agree with you. Boston College gets this win. I love A.J. Dillon. I think he's a monster. I think he's scary to play against. I would be scared to play against him if whoever faces against him. I think he's going to get his yardage no matter what. He's going to get his yardage. He's going to get his close to maybe 150 yards a game. He's going to get his 2-3 touchdowns a game. He's going to tear you apart if you can't control him. So I think Boston College handles this one, and I think they win.
And to our last game, we decided to go with Vanderbilt and Georgia, specifically because we want to see the matchup between secondary on Vandy and the Georgia young receivers. I think if we keep an eye on that matchup, because that game could really show how this receiving core will develop. One thing that's been said about Vanderbilt is that their secondary has improved, and we will see that against a very good quarterback like Jake Fromm. So
Yep.
we'll see how well he does, how he meshes with his young receivers, and how they can all get on the same page, because they need to, especially to start off early because they have Notre Dame in a few weeks. But I'm going to go with Georgia. I think Georgia wins this game. I think Vanderbilt keeps this close until the half, but I think Georgia is too much after that. I think Georgia pulls away. I think they win handedly.
I am excited to see this Georgia versus Vanderbilt matchup, especially in the secondary series, just like you mentioned. I do think it's going to be sloppy in the first quarter, just a bit sloppy. It's not going to be up to Georgia standards as we normally see them.
Right.
But I do think that first quarter is going to be close, but I think Georgia takes off in the middle of the second quarter, and then from there on, it's Georgia's game no matter what. Of course, I didn't think Vanderbilt was going to upset Georgia anytime soon, so Georgia's going to win this pretty handily, but it will be sloppy in the beginning.
The main reason we picked this game was mainly because we wanted to see the matchup between the secondary and the young receivers. We've been hearing a lot of talk that, that the talent should make up for the inexperience, but that's not always true. We've seen that in many games where experience does matter, especially because we'll see a lot of young guys for Georgia on the offensive side of the football,
Right.
Try to make some plays for them, and we'll see how that secondary for Vanderbilt does against this young receiving core.
Yep.
But that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, because it helps us out, and comment below. Tell us what your picks are, and hey, maybe you guys can beat us out in some of these picks as well. Thanks, guys.